Hello boys and girls. I'm doing one of our last videos. It might be the last, it might not, but it's close to the end. I can tell because my black dry erase marker is running out. So what I want to do today is cover some things that are in Unit 6 that we haven't gotten to. So I looked through the teacher's manual and I picked out some new things I want to talk about and some things I want to review. So that's what we're doing today. Some new skills and some review skills. So please sit up in listening, learning position, pay attention, participate at home. That's how you're going to learn. You have to be an active listener, active learner. Okay, starting over here, we have vowel sounds spellings. This is some phonics again. There were 3 more things that the book wanted us to talk about. So, they are 3 short vowel sounds that can be spelled a different way. And we've already watched the spelling options video where you learned, oh my gosh, there are certain sounds that can be spelled so many different ways. Well, there's a few more to talk about. So, right here we have the E with the little breve above it, which means short E, eh. And they wanted to make sure that you know that EA can say eh, but I know you already know because you've been working on the flashcards. And remember I told you this sentence, eat bread and steak. And so if you remember that, you will remember that EA can say E, EA can say eh, and EA can say A. But I'm just going to review this with you. This word, B-R-E-A-D, do you know what that is? If you said bread, you're correct. And here's the vowel team. But instead of a long E, we have a short E. Eh, and the A is silent. What is this word? Head. Good. Again, we have the vowel team or the vowel digraph. E-A, the E is short, and the A you don't hear. Eh, head. And how about this word? It's a 2-syllable word. This word is steady. We hear the eh, and the A is silent. So we do know that short E can be spelled with an EA. All right? Going on, short U. Short U makes the sound. And, oh my gosh, we have OU in these words making the sound. Now, I know on my poster we practiced OU saying owl, like in trout, and oo, like in soup. And those are probably the 2 most common sounds of OU. OU can say owl, OU can say oo. But OU can say some other things too. So we need to talk about that. Do you know what this word is, T-O-U-C-H? That word is touch. And look at the OU. We don't say touch, we don't say tooch, we say touch. And that OU is making a short U sound, How about this one? OU's making short U. Here we go. This word is rough. That's a strange word with that GH making an F sound at the end, kind of like in laugh. But anyway, in rough, again, the OU is saying And the last one down here, that's a 2-syllable word. Do you know it? That word is double. And the OU, once again, is saying a short U sound. So here it is in touch, saying short U. And then I also thought of shoulder. OU is in shoulder too. And it's making a different sound there, shoulder. Almost like a little bit of a long O with that L sound. So again, English is tricky. We already know that. And that OU can make a lot of different sounds. Just try it the different ways and figure out which one sounds best. And the last one over here is short I, and short I says I. Oh goodness. We have Y saying short I. We've already learned that if you start a word with Y, it'll make its consonant sound, like yellow or yarn or yarn. I better not do that. I'll really turn into a yarn here. We also know that if Y is at the end of a word, it can say I or it can say E. But sometimes Y can also make the short I sound. And that's what it's doing here in these words. This is what you go to Mrs. Bremer for. What is that word? Do you see the Y here? It's making the I sound. That word is gym. Oh my gosh, this is a 3-syllable word. It also has 2 Y's in it. Do you know what that is? If you said mystery, you're right. Now look, here is a Y right here, mystery, it's saying short I. And notice there's a Y at the end, mystery, that's saying E. So there's a good example of Y saying I and Y saying E in the same word. And then this one down here, 2-syllable word, do you know what that might be? It has a Y in there too. If you said crystal, you're right, crystal. And here is the Y making the short I sound. Okay? Wanted to talk about that with you. That's new learning. We're going to go down here to number 2, and this is review. I'm a little concerned because I've talked to several of you during Google Meet times, and I've asked about synonyms and antonyms and homophones, and several of you just kind of looked at me. And I've discussed them, and I've read books to you on them, and we've practiced flashcards with them. So let's review one more time. Synonyms. Synonyms are words that mean the same thing, or almost the same thing. Think of synonyms, same. They both start with the S sound. So an example I'm giving here is happy and glad. I am happy to go to the surprise birthday party. I am glad to go to the surprise birthday party. Happy and glad mean about the same thing, and they don't change the meaning of the sentence. They are interchangeable. Antonyms. Antonyms are the opposite of synonyms. Antonyms are opposites. So think of hot and cold. Think of day and night. Think of happy and sad. Those are antonyms, opposites. Then we have homophones. Think of the word phone. When you're on the phone, you're hearing. Homophones are words that sound the same, but they're spelled differently, and they mean something different. I read the book Dear, Dear to You, and there were plenty of homophones in there. Ant and ant. Those 2 words were in that book. This kind of ant, A-N-T, is a little insect that runs around, and this kind of ant, A-U-N-T, is a relative of yours. Your mom's or your dad's sister would be your aunt. So please try to review that and remember that. So this is some new learning today, homonyms. Homonyms. Well, they are words that are spelled the same but have different meanings, and they usually are pronounced the same. So we're going to go ahead and read these sentences. I'd like you to read it with me. So let's start with the first one. We swam to the river bank. All right. And then this one. We have our money in the bank. Can you find a word that is the same in both of those sentences? If you said bank, you are correct. Bank and bank. But guess what? Even though they look the same, they're spelled the same, they sound the same, they have different meanings depending on how they're used in the sentence. So we have to use our context clues to figure out what they mean. Context clues are just the words around the word we're looking at. So here we have, we swam to the river bank. What kind of bank is that? Okay, a riverbank would be kind of the sides where the earth comes down to the water. Now let's look at this one. We have our money in the bank. What kind of bank is that? Well, that's a safe place for you to put your money. You can go to a building and deposit money, okay, into your account at a bank. You can have a piggy bank at home, and it's a safe place to put your money and to save it. So, bank and bank are homonyms. They're also called multiple meaning words. So a word can be used in different ways. All right, going on. I left, read these with me. I left from the party. I turned left at the corner. Do you see a word that is in both of those sentences? If you said left, good job. All right, left is spelled exactly the same, it's pronounced exactly the same, but it has different meanings depending on how you use it. So look here, I left from the party. What does that mean? A synonym for left here would be like departed. I departed from the party. I left. I walked away, I drove away, I removed myself from that location. All right, and then here I turned left at the corner. What kind of left is that? All right, this is a direction, not right, but left. Oh, those are antonyms, right, left, up, down. So this is a direction you're going. Again, left and left are homonyms. Try this one, read it with me. The dog will bark. The bark of the tree is white. Do you see a word that's the same in both of those sentences? If you said bark, you are correct. Good job. Bark and bark. But guess what? Bark can mean different things. It's a multiple meaning word. So you have to use or look at how it's used in the sentence. The first one, the dog will bark. This is something a dog does. What kind of bark is it? Good, it's the sound a dog makes. And then the second one, the bark of the tree is white. Well, we're not talking about a dog anymore, we're talking about part of a tree. What kind of bark is that? All right, that's the outside of the tree, the wooden part that's on the outside of a tree. And we know we're talking about a tree, so we know what kind of bark it is. And birch trees have white bark, and they're beautiful. Going on, this is some review again. We've talked about this before. Parts of speech. Every word can kind of be put in a category. And we have learned about nouns. Nouns are people, places, or things. So again, Mrs. Eastman is a proper noun. That's my name. Basement is a place. That's where I am. Thing, I'm holding a pointer. That is a thing. Those are nouns. Pronouns take the place of nouns. So instead of saying Mrs. Eastman, I can say she. Instead of saying Mr. Eastman, I can say he. And then we have verbs, and verbs are our action words in a sentence. They start the second half or the predicate part. So if I say the dog ran down the street, ran would be my action part. All right, going on. Number 5. Maybe you have talked about these before, I don't know, but this is kind of new learning that we haven't gotten to, at least with me. So this is adjectives, and adjectives are describing words. Another part of speech, just like nouns, pronouns, and verbs. So adjectives make reading interesting. They make talking and writing interesting. They are describing words. They usually answer what kind or how many, and they work together with a noun. So here, Madison wore a blue dress. Madison's a proper noun, but dress is a noun, it's a thing. What word describes dress? If you said blue, good job. A blue dress tells us more about the dress. Let's try this one. Jackson made one boat. I think he shared it during VIP week. So here's Jackson, that's a proper noun, and here's boat. That's a noun, it's a thing. What word describes it? What word tells us how many? If you said one, good job. One boat. So these are adjectives. Blue dress, one boat. Mrs. Eastman has on a yellow sweater. I thought I'd be bright and cheery today. The weather's getting warmer. All right, number 6, prefixes and suffixes. We have discussed those. I'm reviewing. They're important. Prefixes are groups of letters at the beginning of a word. They cannot stand on their own as a word, but we can add them to a root word or a base word that can stand on its own. They either change the meaning of the word or the way we use the word in a sentence. All right? So let's look at this word right here. Can you read it for me? Right here. Retype. Very good. Now, the word that can stand on its own is type. I like to call that a base word. A base word can stand on its own. Roots are a little different. You might get into Greek and Latin roots down the road. But your book says they're kind of the same. A root word, a base word. So I should teach it that way to you. So they can stand on their own as a word. The prefix, I'm going to box it, is re. Now, re is not a word on its own. It's a prefix. And re means to do it again. So, retype means to type it again. If your teacher says, this homework's pretty messy, you're going to have to redo it. You don't really want to hear that, but that means to do it again. Let's go on to this one. This one's interesting. I put a prefix and a suffix on it. Do you know what this word is? Uncooked. Uncooked. Now, find the root or the base word that can stand on its own. Do you know what that might be? Cook. It's right there. I'm going to box un, and I am going to box the ed. Now, we have something to talk about here. ED, boy, I could do a whole lesson on that. That would be so much fun. I'm kind of geeky. ED can make 3 different sounds. It can say ed, it can say d, and it can say t, but it's always spelled the same. So if something's put into past tense, you spell it with an ed, but you may pronounce it differently. So here we're saying t. So we're saying uncooked. Uncooked. Now, un means not. Not cooked. If something is untrue, it's not true. The ed is just making it tell about the past instead of the present. So we have uncooked. All right? Going on, we have another word here. Can you figure it out? It's a 3-syllable word. We've talked about syllables, how we have to chunk the word. All right, this is disagree. Disagree. What do you think the base word or root word is that can stand on its own? If you said agree, good job. So if you agree with somebody, boy, that's a hard one to think of another word that means agree, but you're on the same thinking wave of thinking. You both agree with each other. I should think of another word for agree. Maybe you can at home. But if we add this beginning prefix, dis, well, that means the opposite of, or not. So if you disagree, you're not seeing eye to eye. You're not agreeing on something. Maybe somebody wants to play one game and somebody wants to play a different one, and you have to compromise. Say, hey, we'll play yours for 10 minutes and we'll play mine for 10 minutes. All right? So disagree, dis is a prefix. It means the opposite of agree or to not agree. All right? These are prefixes. See how they change the meaning of our words. Let's move on over here to suffixes. Do you know what this word might be? Peaceful. What is the word that can stand on its own? That would be the base word or the root word. And if you said peace, good job. All right? Our suffix is full, F-U-L. You're going to box it. That is not spelled F-U-L-L. It only has one L, but it still means full of. So if you're at a peaceful location, it's full of peace. Maybe you're swinging on a hammock. Maybe you're lying on the beach. Okay? It's very peaceful there, full of peace. Here we have another word with a suffix added onto the end. Can you read it? Quickly. What's our root word or our base word? Quick. And our suffix is ly, L-Y. That is not a word on its own, but we can put it on the end of another word. It means in that way. So if the runner ran quickly in the race, he's running in a quick way. So we have quickly. We could say quietly, in a quiet way. Loudly, in a loud way. Going on, this one, that's an H, not an N. Should have made that line a little taller. This word is hopeless, which none of you are. All right, the base word, now this one's tricky. You need to listen to me. Here is hope. Let me make that H a little taller, I don't like that. There's hope. If we have hope, we're positive, we think things are going to turn out just fine. This is the suffix less, L-E-S-S. Now, this actually is a word, but it is a suffix too. And less means, in this word, without. So if you are hopeless, you are without hope, which none of you are. All right? So, I hope you learned a little bit about prefixes and suffixes. They can add on syllables. And I think you've already watched part of my syllable video. So when we add un to a word, when we add full to a word, it adds on more syllables, but you can read them and figure them out, all right? You have the knowledge. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's some new information and some review information. And I might be asking you this week to do some games or some worksheets to practice what you've learned. All right? So you take care. Have a great day. Thanks for trying your best. Bye.